Hi, I'm Paul Leon, and this is the P's of Powerful Presenting. First P you want to know is proof. You want to start with proof. If you work for a big company, one of the benefits you have is you probably have some really awesome data analysts you want to make friends with, or you want to make friends with some marketing experts. Those people are your best friend. Lean on them, build that rapport with them. And what you want to do when you're putting together a PowerPoint for your presentation is go to them and simply say, like, hey, what data points do we have around X subject matter that I can use or leverage that I can share externally with this audience? And you really want to vet that information hard. Narrow it down. And then here's the kicker: you want to make sure that that data, as you interpret it through your data storytelling and the proof part of this, is very simple, straightforward, and that you can explain it to a third grader. If you can explain it to a third grader, and that doesn't mean that your audience is dumb, this isn't about intelligence, this is about invitation. The more acceptable it is across all levels of intelligence, the more inviting that presentation is, which is why you want to start with proof. And you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Paul. I don't really have that at my resource. That's not a lever I can pull. Well, that's okay too. What you can pull is Google. Simply going on Google and just looking for data around your subject is fine. Just ensure that you source the data and put it at the last slide of your PowerPoint, where those are your sources. And you want to put that in APA format, which is the typical college recommended version of most things when it comes to sourcing data. So that in each of those slides, when you have that data, you could source that information and make sure it's vetted if you have to go outside your company. So in case any high level manager comes to you and says, where'd you get these numbers again? You can source the material quickly and easily to ensure that you're aligned with them and how you want to use this data to make your point. That next point I also want to make is plan. So after proof, you want to start with plan. You want to tell them what you tell them what you told them, and then tell them again. So the plan is an easily digestible agenda, you could say, for this audience to be part of. And this is some other knowledge points I want to give you. So, in each of those points, let's say it's a training presentation, what you want to do is make sure you structure each of those points around these variables. Variable number one is the presentation piece for that point. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have an hour on sales. 15 minutes might be your presentation on that first point. Then you have 15 minutes for an exercise, and then 15 minutes for where you have a Q&A or session. Now, I know that's only 45 minutes in an hour, but you want to leave that 15-minute buffer just in case. Sometimes participants get really rowdy or they have big emotions. So it's important to always buffer for sometimes those unknown variables that happen when we're presenting or training. It's just a good rule of thumb you want to work with. Then the next P is the pragmatic promise. So a pragmatic promise has to be founded in a relatable, reliable, action oriented process that you can really grasp from your presentation. So, for example, we'll stick with the example of sales because it's usually easy to understand. Instead of saying, if you apply everything in this presentation or training piece today, you're going to see 100% close rate. Well, that's not really a pragmatic promise. What might be a more of a pragmatic promise is if you apply this framework that I've presented here today in this presentation across 30 consultations, you'll see a 10% increase in your close rate when done consistently. So now what we've done is we've put action against a number, against a really obtainable timeline that the participant can actually grasp. And that's part of the pragmatic promise. So, again, to really recap the P's of powerful presentation: one, you want to start with proof, data, lead with that, your plan. Tell them what you're going to tell them what you told them. And then the pragmatic promise, which is what is it obtainable action you can do. Some people call this a call to action. That's fine too. We're just talking semantics here. I'm just simply using everything to start with the letter P so that this is just more of an inviting video for people to watch and grasp as they build their PowerPoints around their powerful presentations. So I hope this has been very helpful to you. My assumption is if you've made it this far into the video, I encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter here at the Persistent Managers. We help power up our managers who follow us with enhancing their leadership skills so they can avoid any types of toxic communication that may follow that. So I hope this has been very helpful. What also helps us out a lot too is if you hit the subscribe button or you follow us here on the channel or communication medium you're watching. It really means a lot to us.